Happy Monday, and welcome into the PHNX Sun Devils show. I'm Anthony Totri, joined as always by my co-captain here, of course, the one, the only, Senor Rubis. We've got the deli man behind the Mac, just making sandwiches, doing all the things as usual. We got Ben here today. Make sure you guys hit that like button, you hit the subscribe button, and you drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. Rubis, we got a lot to get into today because we have Arizona State Sun Devils now scattered across the NFL. See what I did there?
They grow up so fast.
I know. It's beautiful to see these fan bases. They are going to be getting some absolute dogs. Skattebo to the Giants. But where did everybody else go? Leif Fautanu, Xavier Guillory, has Shamari Simmons, has he signed anywhere yet? And then when we are finished talking NFL, get back to the ASU side of things. Dilly, it's his birthday today, and for his birthday, it sounds like 2 big transfers coming into town to bolster that Arizona State offensive line. Not to mention, after the spring game, the Sun Devils got themselves a class of 2026 commit. So we'll get into all of that fun stuff throughout the next hour and change. So grab a snack, grab a drink, and buckle up.
Happy 27th birthday to Kenny Dillingham.
He's 35 now.
Wow.
He's 35.
No longer a young guy.
The youngest coach in the Big 12, the second youngest coach now across college football.
They grow up so fast.
I know. It's crazy. Crazy.
I guess I'm thinking, like, when is he going to hang it up? Like, you know, when?
Hopefully another 35 years.
35, 40 years from now. You just got to start thinking about those things once you get to 35. Like, you know,
It's all
like
downhill.
Katie, you know, it's like, oh, is he near the end of his prime?
Yeah.
You know, what's really going on there? But
Is there such thing as like a coaching prime? Can you get into like a coaching prime?
Yeah, Coach Prime.
Well, that's going to do it for today's episode.
Oh, no, we got a lot to say about Shador. No, yeah, happy birthday to Kenny.
Yep.
I think maybe the best birthday gifts, not only the commits and the transfers, but also to see his group of guys, some of the guys that he took over when he first got here, now moving on to the next level after an incredible season together.
Yeah.
And I think that as happy as they all are individually, I'm sure Kenny's kind of sitting back like a proud dad, just looking back and be like, wow, look at my boys going to the NFL, Cam Skattebo to the Giants. I mean, exciting stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, the only Arizona State Sun Devil to get drafted in the 2025 NFL draft was, of course, Arizona State running back Cam Skattebo in the 4th round with pick 105. We both expected him to go somewhere in the 3rd round. I had him at pick 75. You had him at what, pick 95?
95, like end of the 3rd round.
Where
Shane
did you
nailed
have
it.
him, Deli Man? Did you nail 4th round?
About that, yeah.
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 I mean,
I said early day 3.
Deli Man just knows ball.
Yeah.
He does know ball.
And never mind.
And what?
And what?
And sandwich.
Yeah.
Deli
He
Man
knows
knows
sandwich.
ball and sandwich.
I love it. I love it. McKay saying, I'm going to miss Cam. You and every other Arizona State fan. I saw a bunch of Arizona State coaches saying they're now fans of the Giants, obviously,
Oh,
and a
for
bunch
sure.
of these other teams.
He's not dead though. Like you're still gonna watch him play football.
It's just like you don't get to watch him play for your team.
Yeah,
No.
exactly. So here's the dream scenario. One of my best friends, Jack, is a Giants fan. And so he just gets that. He went to ASU and then
Yeah, that's
so
nice.
that's the dream. That team is so fun though. Like
The Giants?
they're not good, but
No.
they're fun.
Yeah.
They're really
Yeah.
young. Their defense is going to be,
Dude.
if anything, electric. They might not be great, but they're going to be. That defensive line's unbelievable.
Is ridiculous.
You got to figure out the position that matters the most.
Yeah.
And hopefully Jackson Dart is him because they have a really, really fun team.
Well,
100%.
I think the coolest thing about him going to the Giants is, we talked about what's the best fit, the best situation for him. I don't think the Giants came up once.
No.
But when you actually look at it and you break it down, they have a good running back, but not somebody that they've invested a lot of capital in. It was their fifth round pick from the year before. And there is room for him to get immediate touches, immediate impact. And they don't have a quarterback right now. And so if Cam Skattebo becomes kind of like the safety valve kind of person like he was for Sam Levitt, where, okay, whoever is quarterback, they might not be experienced, they might not be that great, then I can be for Jackson Dart his guy, right? And I can maybe be featured more than if you did get put in a situation like a Kansas City, right? Or even a Chicago, right? Who's still looking for weapons, but has more on offense, especially on that running back position than the Giants. I think it's interesting that he ends up going to a spot that usually isn't known for general competence from a franchise level, but he might benefit from them not having that type of depth and that setup when he gets in there in form of opportunity.
Yeah, TRS in the chat saying obviously wish Cam went to the Cards, but he should get some good playing time with the Giants this year. Yeah, it's how I feel in terms of kind of this landing spot. Like you said, I don't think we talked a lot about the Giants in terms of a fit for Cam Skattebo, but I don't think that necessarily had anything to do with the Giants. I think in reality, Cam Skattebo fit all 32 teams just with the way that he plays football. But I do think, kind of like you said, kind of like TRS is saying in the chat, I think he did find himself in a position where he is going to be able to get touches really early on, simply because Tyrone Tracy is realistically the only true back they have there. I think Devin Singletary is still on that roster. He is getting up there a little bit in age. I know he had a down season. I believe he went into last year as the starting running back for the New York Giants and then kind of got replaced as the season went on. So I think by the end of the season, you see Scat as a clear RB2 for the New York Giants. And this is a guy that for the Giants fan base that's tuning in, that maybe hasn't seen a ton of Cam Skattebo ball, you're getting a guy that is just an absolute workhorse for 4 quarters. This guy gets better as the game goes on. He's durable. He can catch the ball. He can run the ball. He can throw the ball. He can punt the ball. He could play special teams. He will do anything and everything that Coach Dable asks him to do, and he'll go above and beyond.
I mean, when you sit, and it was funny because with all the Shedeur stuff, the Giants quarterback room stuff from last draft, where Dable was putting them through like the work and Daniels and Drake and all of that. And you see kind of how his football mind works. And not to draw like direct comparisons, because they're obviously very different coaches and very different positions, but the way that he was breaking things down and kind of throwing stuff at quarterbacks, I was like, I see like a little bit of how Kenny would kind of attack things. And I feel like that type of football brain and mind and Dable and then Cam, those are going to mesh really well. Yeah. And he does have so obviously Jackson Dart is the biggest like wild card in that quarterback room, because they put a pretty good investment in him in the draft. But you have Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, which is what a yin and yang quarterback room as far as personalities and on-field play. But whoever gets there, an established quarterback in the league and one that knows how to use a weapon if they're up, and you say like a clear chance to be running back too, I think there's an opportunity for him to, by the end of the season, be RB1. I'm not saying that's going to happen, because Tracy did show last year good year, that he can be that, especially for a team that's not competing at the highest level. But I don't think it's so locked in stone like some of these teams that have, like your Bijans, or or even like the Raiders who took an Ashton Genty, right? Yeah. Okay, we have our guy, our running back, and Eagles with Saquon, right? Obviously the ties there with New York and Scat. You don't go into a situation where it's unfathomable that if you start putting up numbers and you start contributing, that you can at least make it more of a by committee thing by the end of the year. There is this runway for him. And if there's one thing we've known from talking to him, from seeing him from Sac State to year 1 at ASU to what's been happening in a Heisman campaign and being one of the most electric players in college football, is that if there's an opportunity, he's going to go take it. Yeah. And so that, I think, out of all of it, is when people might worry about the Giants part of it all, you got to bet more on the person. And I think the person in Cam Skattebo, no matter what franchise he went to, was ready to take on that work and fight to be running back 1. I just think he actually has a pretty decent path for it. in this specific
Yeah,
situation.
I think he could have ended up at like a better overall organization,
Agreed.
Team that is a consistent winner. Obviously, the Giants are still figuring things out. You brought up the fact that you have Russell Wilson, you have Jameis Winston, now you have Jackson Dart in the fold. This is a team that, to your point, that Scat has potential to be RB1. I think what does play to his benefit is that Brian Daboll and company have to win this year, right?
Mhm.
This is a coaching staff that has been under scrutiny for the way that they've handled the last couple of seasons. Obviously, you had the whole Danny Dimes year and that whole mess. So if Cam Skattebo does at a certain point in the season start to perform like a running back one, I think this is a team that would lean that way, is going to ride the hot hand simply because they have to win games. They have to win now.
Did that last year. Like
with Tracy.
You see they're not afraid to do it. And Tyron Tracy, a lot less of an investment. I mean, dude played wide receiver most of his career.
Yeah, he was a 5th round draft pick. I mean, they're investing more in Skattebo already than they did in him.
Yeah, Scat is the highest drafted running back since Saquon Barkley for the New York Giants. So.
Mm-hmm. And that's the cool thing, to where anybody that wants him to be a Cardinal or is worried about his like long-term tenure with the Giants, like there will come a time to where if Cam earns his keep and he has a chance to really go on the map, because the Giants aren't great, they're still in a massive market in New York. If they have a good individual player, we've seen NFL Network and big media outlets like pick up on those big players and, really promote them.
Yeah.
So let's say hypothetically the Giants suck, but Cam's great for a couple of years and he earns his keep. And this guy's a starting running back in the NFL, or this guy is one of the better running backs in the NFL. He's going to be able to go to another team eventually.
Yeah.
Right. And so he has an opportunity now to set himself up to earn that second contract, which as a running back is pretty hard to get sometimes, or to get franchise tagged, which I know sometimes has a negative connotation, but that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right. So it's nice that obviously you don't have to stay with that one franchise forever, but also with New York, if Jackson Dart is something, like Shane said, they've invested in their defense. Their defensive line is insane. Obviously drafting Abdul Carter as well, and then the extension for Thibodeau and the same hour.
Yeah, their defensive line is otherworldly.
And so if the team can be sustainable and they figure out a quarterback, they're kind of building it backwards, right? So they have Malik Neighbors, who was a high draft pick last year. So there's another kind of counter to Scat if he starts being used in the offense more. Like you can start putting all the pieces together and seeing, A, why a team like the Giants would draft somebody like Skattebo who can do so much, but B, why it's great for him, because long term, I think it'll set him up to really make a name for himself.
Yeah, and the Giants fan base has already really embraced Scat.
I think any fan base.
You're right. You're right. But I love being able to go on and see it being immediate. Right, the Giants fans loving that Scat is headed to New York. He's going to be a part of that team, and like this is a guy in Cam Skattebo that he's going to play in the Dallas Cowboys stadium once a year. And we saw what he did in that Big 12 championship game when he got to play at Jerry World. He absolutely dominated Iowa State. Now he's playing the Dallas Cowboys, but we'll see. He's obviously comfortable in that stadium, so I'm excited to see what he does this season. Before we move on to some of the other Sun Devils, one of the videos that had kind of gone viral over the weekend was Scat's like emotional reaction to getting selected. Just what did you think seeing him, like for a guy that is such a hard-nosed, like just a demon on the field, for him to be able to like realize his dream like that?
I mean, it's awesome for him.
Yeah.
And I've gone back and kind of listened to some of the interviews that we did, the three of us collectively have done with Scat over the past year or so. And I even, went back and listened to the one that you and Sean did when he first transferred. And a lot of the times he mentioned, like, if I'm lucky enough to get to the NFL, I want to get to the next level. Hopefully I get to the next level. And then when you kind of listen to him, it progressively turns into win. I get to the next level. Win. This turns into a job. But that's never been guaranteed for him. And he was also talking about how he's been a leader in the locker room and how, guys know his story and have seen his story. 0-star guy, right? Sacramento State, transfers to Arizona State, 3-win season. Playing every single position possible, turning that all around into being a like a high draft pick, obviously not as high as some of us thought he could go, but not a 7th round draft pick. To have a fan base completely behind you in college and another fan base enamored with you and off the bat with the Giants and hearing your name called, like that's the culmination of a dream come true. And we've seen that means a lot to him to see how far he's come, because when you played him clips of his original interview talking about how Arizona State is home and his goals and everything, like he got emotional. Yeah. You can tell that football is his life and he wants this so bad, and now he can continue to go and prove it on another level. Like I was not surprised that he cried. And I think that's a great thing, because that shows just how much this matters to him.
He loves ball, man. And I think it was Jared, or it might have been someone else in the chat, saying, does Scat get his number retired?
That might be a show.
At Arizona State. Maybe that's something we ask Graham Rossini when he comes to the next
I don't
next
know,
time
man.
we have him
He
on.
never lost in the Alamo Bowl. So
just taking
I'm
shots.
Kind of sure that that's a prerequisite to getting your jersey retired.
Oh my goodness.
Cam Skattebo drafted before Shedeur Sanders. Would you put your money on that?
We all expected to see Cam Skattebo get drafted before Shedeur, right? That was 100%, right? We all thought that was going to happen. No comments on that one. I'll just leave that to the internet. The internet loves to comment when I talk about Shedeur. Guys, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. We're going to let you know where the rest of the Arizona State Sun Devils landed as undrafted free agents on the other side of this quick break.
It's peak play basketball outside hours for you, boy. Yesterday morning, before we all kind of got together to send Captain away in a nice little farewell get together, I went and was playing basketball outside, and I had to wear my Brandon Bills hat because my hair is too long. It gets in my head and my face now. And Brandon Bills hats, with the performance and the style, it looks good and it feels good. And I was out there hooping and it felt great. But the best part is I have so many Brandon Bills hats, and I have like one dedicated for workouts, and I have a bunch of other ones dedicated for whatever fit I'm trying to pull off on the day. Of course, they have partnerships.
Trying to pull off.
Yeah, I mean, I think I can pull off some pretty good fits, but only because of Brandon Bills, the perfect headwear and apparel. Whether you need snapbacks, truckers, fitted beanies, or tees, Brandon Bills has you covered with performance and style. You can get them customized with your own logo, like we have here with our own PHNX collection that you can get on our shop over at gophnx.com. And of course, they have a bunch of ASU Brandon ones as well. They also have UVA, but we don't want to talk about that. Local company out of Mesa, Arizona. Head to brandonbills.com. Use code PHNX for 20% off your first order.
Guys, if you're trying to get your finances in order, which is something I've been trying to do for as long as I can remember.
As long as you've had finances.
Yes, there you go. We've got the place to help you out. That's, of course, Desert Financial Credit Union. And if you're an Arizona sports fan, I mean, there's not really a better place in the Valley to do your banking than Desert Financial Credit Union. On top of the fact that they've got a bunch of exclusive debit cards branded with your favorite teams for the Cardinals, ASU. Hey, if you're a Lumberjack, they got NAU ones. But the best part is they've got a team, they've got somebody individually to help you with literally whatever you need when it comes to your finances. If you need help with your checkings or savings accounts, guess what, Rubus? They got you covered.
Thank
Mortgages,
God.
They got you covered. Loans, credit cards, investment options, and so much more. They have somebody that is going to make sure that you get your finances in order. Plus, when you open a free checking account online, that's right, we said free, you're going to get $200 in bonuses. Get started by visiting desertfinancial.com/200. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast.
Yeah. Jacob wants to know what your thoughts on the prank call was.
I mean, I'm not.
I think it's messed up.
I'm not a big like let's prank call somebody on their, especially during that weekend. Like we know people that we've either had on the show or that we're friends with, that I called them or texted them like days in advance, just being like, hey, I know your phone's going to be busy throughout the weekend, or you at least hope it's busy, so let them have their time. I'm not Shedeur Sanders' biggest fan in the world, but those moments I feel like you don't get those, right? They're a dime a dozen.
I think you could do two things at once. You can kind of laugh at the whole Shedeur slide and everything like that, but on a human level,
I did laugh at the slide.
I know, but on a human, like there's a difference between doing that and calling him on the personal phone that is only for draft and pretending like I just think that's like super messed up.
Yeah, that's taking it to another level.
Because imagine if somebody did that to Scat, right? We would be rioting in the streets.
Yeah, Scat would probably take care of him.
Yeah.
I feel pretty confident.
I will find you
on that note,
and I will truck you.
You think that's what he
Scout
would do?
would say.
Yeah, that's 100% what he would do. Look, getting to some of the other Arizona State Sun Devils that landed across the league as undrafted free agents. Of course, we brought up that there was no other ASU player drafted during the 2025 NFL draft. We thought Leif Fautanu had a chance. We thought Shamari Simmons had a chance as 7th round guys. Ultimately, they didn't hear their name called, but they did end up signing as undrafted free agents. So we can kind of go down the list here. Starting with Leif Fautanu, the Arizona State center from the last couple of seasons. He signed with the Detroit Lions. We have a Detroit Lions fan in this office, and Noah, so he seems to like the fit. I think Leif is a guy that when you add in Dan Campbell's personality, I think that's something that's really, really awesome. Not to mention the fact this is a team in Detroit that they really had their franchise turnaround, not just because of the talent that they have on the perimeter and in the backfield, but because of those guys up front. So I think Leif certainly has a chance to make that roster. And he's got now a former teammate as a rival in Emmett Boley, who signed with the Chicago Bears, a team that has massive, massive needs up front. I think Johnny was sitting in this seat over the weekend and said they're just playing 7-on-7 football because they're only drafting weapons. Well, they got themselves Emmett Boley as an undrafted free agent. I'm interested to see what he does in camp. This is a guy that you didn't hear a ton about during the pre-draft process. He obviously had a pretty gruesome injury, not last year, but the year prior. But he was a pretty big staple along this Arizona State offensive line over the course of the last couple of years, whether as a starter or as a rotational piece. But those are the offensive linemen that ended up places. What do you think about Leif ending up as a Lion and Boley ending up with the Bears?
I agree with William saying Leif under Dan Campbell is a best case scenario.
Yeah.
This offensive line development in Detroit and everything like that. But I think that with Emmett, I actually originally had Leif going to the Bears because they needed offensive line help, and I felt like that would be a good fit for him. But I feel like Emmett has a chance to get a role. I think camp is going to be big, obviously, for all of these undrafted free agents and whatnot. But I think Arizona State players specifically are built for these types of camps and the type of earn your
built
position.
For competition.
So, right. So I don't think that they're really going to shy away from that. I think Emmett might have a better chance of playing sooner, which I think weird enough over Leif, even though I would say that Leif is a better overall player just because of the state that Detroit is as a franchise and as an offense than what Chicago is and how much they need help on the offensive line. So I think it makes sense for both. I think developmental wise, Leif's in a better spot. I think to get burned now, I think Emmett might be in a better spot.
Sharon saying if Shamari isn't signed soon, we need to ride. Hopefully Erik is right that he is considering offers. Yeah, I imagine Shamari has offers out there. He's just weighing his options. This is a guy that there were several fan bases that when we got down to the 7th round were saying that they wanted their team to draft Shamari. Several individuals I saw in terms of fan bases had Shamari atop their undrafted free agent target list. So again, I imagine he's got several options. He's just kind of weighing them. But we'll see. We'll wait and see what happens with Arizona State's, former Arizona State nickel. But some other guys that landed, Xavier Guillory. He is a Baltimore Raven, a team that feels like every year could use wide receiver help.
I like that fit.
What about the fit do you like the
Lamar
most?
Jackson.
I guess that's fair.
Yeah. I mean, they have weapons, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like he's just going to walk in.
Zay Flowers, Derrick
the
Henry.
same thing with all of this, where you're not just going to walk in as an undrafted free agent and just be on the team.
Yeah.
Right. But I think that with the type of hands that X has and him being a very steady option, I think there's a chance for him to get on the practice squad, maybe get on the roster. And if with Lamar there and with injuries and whatnot, you never know when a weapon's going to be called upon. So I like that fit for X.
Yeah, and I like that point that you brought up, right? You never know when Guillory's going to hear his number called, which is something that we saw at Arizona State, right? When he was a transfer, he was never the one. It was Elijah Badger, and then it was Jordan Tyson, and then, hey, we're in the biggest moment. We're in the Big 12 championship game, a spot in the college football playoffs on the line, a conference championships on the line. Jordan Tyson's down. He's out. He's injured. You need somebody to step up. Xavier Guillory played a huge role in that Big 12 championship. Also played a pretty big role in that college football playoff game too.
Yeah, and the chat's bringing up the fact that that the Ravens like wide receivers that block.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing for all Arizona State receivers. I think that's going to be a reason why teams love Jordan Tyson as well next year. It's like, wow, a guy who could do that, but also can block. And that's why Hines Ward is so big on emphasizing that. But, you know, being able to go out there and go and play with the dirty work as well with X, you know, we obviously focus on the end of the season when his number was called in the pass catching sense. But this offense doesn't work the same if he's not in there putting the dirty work during the regular season. And not just putting in the dirty work with blocking and kind of being that counter to Tyson, but it was that Kansas game. He had a really, really big, timely touchdown grab.
Or Tyson?
Guillory.
I don't know off the top of my head. We're talking.
I know.
We're talking like 7 months ago. Do you remember that one block in that one game?
No. I think it was a touchdown for Axe. Anyway, doesn't really matter. I just know that he specifically is very good at finding the moment and also, you know, being whatever the team needs him to be.
Yeah.
And I think the Ravens are gonna like that a lot. I think that'll earn him a roster spot eventually.
Yeah, I think Xavier Guillory probably lands on the practice squad with the Baltimore Ravens. I think it's with him and all these undrafted free agents. It's a tough thing to do to eventually land on that 53-man roster. But I think if there were a team that Guillory has a better chance, or a higher chance, I should say, to make the roster, I would say it is Baltimore, just because of they do always have a glaring need at wide receiver. It's just going to be up to Guillory to really be a surefire wideout when you get to rookie minicamp, when you get through training camp.
Talk about a guy that practices well too.
He practices really well. When he first got to Arizona State,
it's like he's better than Elijah Badger.
Yeah, because he was bigger. He runs routes really crisp. He's much bigger than you think. Like a guy as his size is listed. I think he's listed at 6'2". He looks bigger than that though. Like he looks 6'3", 6'4". He plays bigger. I think again, if like the game speeds up, or if the game slows down, I should say, for him the way that it does a lot of these really, really talented players, then I think he certainly got a chance to make that roster.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be your wide receiver one.
No.
I don't think he's going to be like, oh, wow, this is Lamar Jackson's favorite weapon. Who could have seen it coming? But he's always been able to make timely grabs. And I was right. It was the Kansas game. He had one catch for 28 yards and a touchdown in a game that they won by 4.
Was that he scored the first touchdown of the game?
I don't know if it was the first.
I think it was the first touchdown of the game, which ASU needed it, I guess. Because Tyson scored the rest of them pretty much. Tyson and Scat scored the rest.
Which is crazy because Kansas' secondary was like their
saving grace.
Suit.
Did Kobe Bryant or Mello Dotson get drafted?
No, they didn't get drafted.
I don't think either one of them got drafted.
Yeah.
I know Kobe didn't, which is crazy to think about because Kobe going into last year was one of the top corners in college football.
Shooter was also supposed to go number 2 going into last year. So
What?
A lot of things change.
A lot of things.
I just saw somebody pushing Garrett Nussmeier first overall pick on my timeline.
Yuck.
No.
Yuck.
It's not going to happen. PFF did do their way too early mock draft, and Tyson and Sam are both top 10 picks. Tyson being the first wide receiver off the board and the only wide receiver in the first round. So we'll see what transpires. Obviously, you got an entire college football season for all that fun stuff. But I know how we both feel and how Shane feels about Sam and Tyson. What?
I thought you were pushing my anti-Jordan Tyson
propaganda.
No,
I wasn't pushing your anti-Tyson agenda.
I don't have an anti-Tyson agenda. It's your Shane is anti-Tyson agenda.
So you want to clear the air? Are you you're pro Tyson?
There's no air to clear.
You're pro Tyson. I need to hear the words.
Yes.
Okay. He didn't say pro Tyson.
He actually seems shockingly reluctant to do it.
Very pro Jordan Tyson.
There we go.
Much like he will be next year. Very pro.
Very much pro. Jeff Clark, he was invited to the Arizona Cardinals local day, which I don't know what that really means, if I'm being completely honest with you. Didn't say he was signed as an undrafted free agent.
I think it's like a shot to earn the chance to get
to go to
as an undrafted free agent. Yeah.
Interesting.
I think it's mainly for like local.
Well,
prospect.
It's a local day, so I would imagine. Yeah. Jeff Clark was one of the best defensive linemen for the Sun Devils last year. Reminds me a lot of Nestor Jade Silvera, who ultimately ended up with the Las Vegas Raiders, who I think he is still on that roster. So Jeff Clark, a guy that I think can eventually make a practice squad. Making an NFL roster, I think, is going to be a really tough swing for a guy of that size at that position.
Nesta's on Green Bay now.
Nesta is? Since when? This last offseason? I like the fit better with the Raiders, to be completely honest with you. But It is what it is. But those are the guys that were on this past team for Arizona State that landed places. We mentioned we're still waiting on Shamari. Haven't heard anything on Melquan Stovall. But Emmett Boley's a Bear. Leif is a Lion. Guillory's a Raven. Jeff Clark invited to an Arizona Cardinals local day.
Yeah.
And Cam Skattebo is a New York Giant. But we've got 3 former Sun Devils, all 3 friends of the program at a certain point, that did sign as undrafted free agents as well. Jalen Conyers, former Arizona State tight end, former Texas Tech tight end. He is now a Miami Dolphin.
Love that. They're going to need somebody to play quarterback when Tua gets knocked down again. So
I'm really interested to see when Damon gets back from his vacation, how he feels.
Is he ever
about
coming
that
back?
situation.
I don't know.
No, he's just staying on the island forever. Yeah,
well, it makes sense.
We know. I thought Jalen was going to get drafted. I don't know what you guys thought.
I thought
Jalen deserved to be drafted. I think from a pure talent perspective.
Especially after his 40 time, I was like, oh my God, teams are going to be salivating.
Yeah, and ultimately he fell.
Yeah, shocking.
As an undrafted free agent.
This was a sneaky, deep tight end class, though. And you don't really like to draft tight ends.
I mean, Colson Loveland going top 10 was kind of crazy.
That was nuts.
Was ridiculous.
Over Tyler Warren, but it is what it is.
Tyler Warren is the most overrated prospect I've ever seen.
Really?
Yes.
You think all the college football playoff hype around him?
I think just he was good, and then he was just talked about like he was one of the greatest things ever.
Yeah.
And he can't really block.
Yeah.
Oops.
I guess that's fair. Elijah Badger, one of Shane's favorite all-time Arizona State wide receivers, signing with my least favorite team in the NFL, the Kansas City Chiefs.
That's going to be so annoying.
We'll see if he makes a roster. Another guy that I thought would have ended up
he'd
getting drafted. He didn't. I think he had like a 5th-round grade on him. So kind of surprising to see that he fell as an undrafted free agent. But, man, if he makes the roster, catching passes with Patrick Mahomes, a guy in Elijah Badger that has a quicker game speed than his 40 time. He's got really smooth hands. He's just an overall a really talented wide receiver. So excited to see what he does.
Might be a special teams guy.
Yeah, he could certainly be a special teams guy. I mean, he had his moments for Arizona State. He had his moments for Florida. But we will see. Bees, any update on Melquan Stovall? No, I have not seen any updates on Melquan Stovall. But of course, make sure you follow PHNX_Sun Devils on social, and that's where we'll give you all the updates as they come in. And then Jordan Clark, another friend of the program who transferred from Arizona State to Notre Dame. He signed with the New York Jets. I kind of like that fit as well. You got a new head coach in Aaron Glenn, a defensive-minded guy. Jordan Clark is one of the just toughest players that I have ever met and been around.
He's going to make that roster.
He is. I feel very confident that
he's
that Jordan
smart
Clark will make
too.
that. He is. He's very smart. He's got NFL running in his blood with his dad, right?
Yeah.
His dad, one of the best safeties in the last 20 years in the NFL. So I feel good that he's going to make that roster.
Plus, he's the only ASU athlete that has laughed hard at one of my jokes before.
He laughed ridiculously hard at one of your
What
jokes.
joke?
I think I was like...
It's like a meme.
No, it wasn't even a joke. I just said, I am but a man who loves shenanigans.
Yeah. And he like belly laughed
Yeah.
at it.
I mean,
That was at the Pac-12
Yeah, that's when
media
things were
day.
bad.
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
coping.
Yeah.
We got to show some love to another former Sun Devil who did get drafted.
Another former Sun Devil.
Omar
Oh, yeah.
Norman Lott, also going to your least favorite team.
The Denver Broncos, right?
No, he went to the Chiefs.
He went to the Chiefs too?
He's going
Wow.
to dominate there, man. He's one of the guys that came out of nowhere in the draft process that I actually agreed with.
Mm.
He had a great year at Tennessee, but all of his tape is just unbelievable. His RAS scores off the charts. We saw what he could be when he was here, and the fact that he went in the second round shows you exactly that.
Yeah. Yeah. He did rise a lot throughout that late draft
I mean,
process.
if I told you that Omar Norman Lott was a second round pick, like when he was here, that would have been shocking.
I
Good
think
for him.
It would have been more shocking to me that if you would have, at the end of this NFL draft, told me that Jalen Conyers, Jordan Clark, and Elijah Badger all go undrafted.
And
I think I would have had a
Omar
bigger
Norman
surprise.
Lott is a second
Yeah,
round pick.
I mean, Omar was always like,
He was
again,
always
late in the
good.
process, he was always projected to be selected, right? I think second round was earlier than a lot of people would
I'm
have
talking
thought.
about like when he was here.
Yeah, when he was here, probably not.
Yeah.
But again, I think Jordan Clark, Elijah Badger, and Jalen Conyers all really deserved to get
Yeah, but
drafted.
he had a good sophomore year here, and when he was still really young. So
Yeah.
it's not like the most shocking thing. He
I mean,
was
second round pick.
yeah, but he was one of the few bright spots in the
Yeah,
defense.
he was. He was
Yeah.
good.
Was that a Donnie defense? God, Donnie Henderson. Pour one out for that just horrendous defensive playbook that guy had. It was absolutely awful.
Remember when you saw him in the bathroom?
I did. It wasn't mid. Was it mid-game?
I think it was halftime.
It was halftime.
So you're like, Coach, we're getting killed.
Yeah, we're down 30. What are we doing? I think that might have been the Eastern Michigan game too.
Oh, yikes.
Like, Donnie, do we really need to be taking a leak here? Like, I feel like we could spend the next couple minutes really focusing in on taking care
Hard to
of
focus when
the
you gotta
dudes
pee.
and the accountants on the other side of the field.
The McDonald's shift leads.
Yeah, the McDonald's shift leads, to quote the one, the only Sean DePaz. Guys, make sure you hit that like button, you hit the subscribe button. Of course, we've talked a lot of NFL, but hey, we talk mainly Arizona State, so that's what we're going to get to on the other side of this quick break. Do you know what my favorite part of being in this studio is?
The floors.
You stole it from me.
I mean, I
It
know.
is. It is the floors. By far the nicest floors that we have in this office, that we have in the studios, and in all honesty, the nicest floors that I've seen in my entire life. Sorry, Mom. Sorry, Dad. Empire Today. If you guys need new floors, maybe you just got a new home, maybe you're remodeling, regardless, whatever it is, Empire Today is the one-stop shop for everything you need when it comes to flooring. Just like your favorite team needs a home core or, a home field advantage, your home needs a home floor. Rubus is always telling you how you guys go out to all these big box stores and you wander endless aisles. Nobody's willing to help you, and it's a lot. And then you end up having to go do it all by yourself.
So stupid.
It is stupid. So call the professionals and schedule a free in-home estimate today, because some things are just better at home. PHNX listeners can receive a $350 discount when using that promo code PHNX. Yes, a $350 discount with code PHNX. Now, restrictions apply. Visit EmpireToday.com/PHNX for full details.
So that's the inside, but if you just bought a home, maybe the outside, or you've had a home for a long time and you know what to expect in the summer here in Arizona, that, of course, you can call All Pro Shade Concepts to extend your outdoor patio space with a custom fit awning. All Pro, well, they've been doing it for a long time. In business for 20 years in the Valley, they started making window shades by hands for friends and family in Phoenix, and now they're one of the largest installers of patio roll-down shades and motorized awnings in the Valley. The most trusted local shade company, voted #1 by Ranking Arizona for patio shades in 2024, an A+ Better Business Bureau rating, and of course, over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and counting. Multiple different designs and colors will work with you and your HOA, and the installation process is seamless. Call 623-204-1476 or visit allproshadeconcepts.com right now to schedule your free estimate. Plus, of course, we shared this last week during the NFL draft. We have some big and little news to share. ALLCITY, and of course, us here at PHNX, we are partnering with Big Brothers Big Sisters of America. We have just started an exciting 3-year partnership. And Totri, one of the reasons why I love ALLCITY, why I love PHNX, and why I came here was the investment in the community. Pairing that together with Big Brothers Big Sisters is such a seamless fit. It doesn't just stop after our NFL draft coverage. That was amazing last week. That was a great kickoff for this. We're going to be doing so much more through fundraising, content, events, and even opportunities for our team and for our listeners. So get directly involved. We're excited to support youth mentorship that really makes a difference. You can learn more and see how to get involved at bbbs.org/allcity.
Absolutely. Will in the chat kind of breaking down all the fun stuff. Of course, you got some hockey news. You got the big transfers. It's Dilly's birthday, and Glenn saying, just wait, William. We got another commit soon. Will already knows because he's a PHNX diehard, and we dropped that news this morning. We told him who the Sun Devils are getting. So if you want to know, sign up to become a PHNX diehard. Just go to gophnx.com, click that little diehard tab. It's going to tell you everything that you unlock when you become a PHNX diehard, which includes apparently insider access. You're going to get it's insider access. You're getting access to that diehard Discord. You're getting a free T-shirt or hat every single year.
20% off events. Exclusive audio and video content.
You're getting all the things.
And especially like right now, you're getting a ton. In season, when we're going to games, it's basically like you're there if you're not there. We'll be sending you pictures and videos down on the field. It is an awesome time. Become a diehard today. Why not?
Do the thing. Sharon, the mother of the chat, who in here isn't a diehard yet? Don't let Sharon catch you.
You don't get on Sharon's bad side.
No, you absolutely do not. You want to get into the class of 2026 commit that Arizona State did get? New running back. One goes out, one goes in. Cardae Mack, 3-star running back, chose Arizona State over a number of schools, including Ole Miss, Texas Tech, SMU, and a ton of others. Now, this guy, if you go turn on the tape, which we will do a tale of the tape that you guys can check out on the PHNX Sports YouTube channel at some point this week. So definitely be on the lookout for that. This is a straight line speed guy. He is an absolute speedster who played quarterback, played running back, and still plays both positions at the high school ranks. He threw for 18 touchdowns last year and 1,800 yards. He also ran for 1,900 yards and 22 touchdowns. That's right, 40 touchdowns through the air and on the ground for this kid. He is an absolute touchdown machine, and Sean Aguano gets another talented running back.
And a running back who understands the game as a quarterback as well.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm sure there's going to be some trickery or something there. And it's the same thing with Cam Dyer, right? This is the second year in a row that you see a high-rated prospect and recruit be a dual position guy. Quarterback, wide receiver for Cam Dyer, quarterback, running back for Cardae Mack. Although whenever I see Cardae Mack, I just think Vontae Mack, and it's always Vontae Mack.
It's fair.
But I'm really excited because whenever I think about a running back coming into ASU, it's like, what's moldable about you? Like, what skills do you have to fit in with this room? And I think the vision of this guy who can also tear it up as a quarterback and make these decisions in the pocket under pressure, that's such an exciting prospect from a mental level for somebody who's going to be coming in, obviously, as an 18, 19-year-old freshman, maybe redshirting, maybe not, depending on what the situation is. But when you're that smart, and you're that aware and you can do so many different things when your role gets condensed and you're in a great system like Arizona State with an awesome infrastructure and coaching staff and identity on offense, like all those things come together and mesh so well. Like I'm already getting excited about what his potential could be here in Maroon and Gold.
Yeah. I mean, he's a top 20 running back in the entire class of 2026. Now, if you are familiar with 24/7 Sports and the whole ranking system, he's an 89 on the 24/7 Sports composite. So he's just literally a point away from being a 4-star running back. I imagine after this season that he will eventually be a 4-star running back. But just, again, taking a look at some of the teams that had offered this kid, right? We mentioned
about 100 of them.
SMU, college football playoff team. Houston, Texas Tech, Arizona, Baylor, Colorado, a bunch of Big 12 teams. And then you look at some of the heavy hitters on this list. Ole Miss, Florida, Oregon, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas A&M, USC. He chose Arizona State over all of these other schools. And Sean Aguano is a big part in that. I think we always tend to talk about the running backs and the players themselves, which, again, they do a lot of the work. They deserve that credit, right? We talk about going back to an Eno Benjamin. We talk about a Rashad White, an Xavier Guillory, a Cam Skattebo. The one common denominator for all those is Sean Aguano.
Yeah.
Sean Aguano being able to go out there and recruit these guys and get them to come play at Arizona State over other schools that maybe immediately have a bigger following, right? In maybe last year, if I say USC, Oregon, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, you think of those schools probably before Arizona State.
Yeah.
And then you get to this past season, you have the college football playoff run. You have Cam Skattebo do what he does. I think Arizona State is now firmly in that conversation, and I think you're going to start to see some more of these guys that do have big-time offers that are 4-star, 5-star, high 3-star types of guys. Choose Arizona State. And I was telling Shane this when we were at the spring game, is I felt like for such a long period of time, you would see these kids come to Arizona State and visit it, but never actually commit. They choose the Arizona State would be in the running for such a long time, and then we're going to
nice
Oregon.
Little vacation in Tempe.
We're going to Oregon. We're going to Texas Tech. We're going to SC, and everybody loves Arizona when they visit. Everybody loves Tempe, right? You love Kenny Dillingham. You love everything about the Valley. But for such a long period of time, when these recruits would come here, it was, why am I going to a place that's just a vacation spot, right? They don't win here. They don't win at Arizona State.
Yeah.
They don't play in big-time games. They don't play under the lights. They don't play in championship games. They're not in the playoff. And then you have a season like last year where you do all of those things, where you win big-time games under the lights. You beat ranked team after ranked team after ranked team. You make the college football playoff. You dominate the Big 12 championship game. You're a play away from being a Final Four team in the college football playoff. And now it's like you see these guys, these high 3-stars, these 4-stars, which you'll get one, again, in the next couple of days, that are like, okay, now I see it. I love all of these things. I love this position coach. Dilly's awesome. It's beautiful here. This community is going to rally around me and support me. And now they win. Now this team competes at a really, really high level with, again, last year or this past NFL draft is going to probably be one of the rare times where you only see one Sun Devil.
Well, I'm about to say, and they're
drafted.
sending people to the next level, even though it's one that's so public, so outward facing in Cam Skattebo. And then, of course, you have next season where you're looking at a potential of 2 top 5, top 10, top 2 picks in Jordan Tyson and Sam Levitt. And back to the Aguano thing, Sharon saying she hopes that Sean Aguano stays here forever. I know I bring it up a lot of the times when we mention him, but back when I was at Cronkite, I was covering Chandler High School football with Jacob Conover, former Arizona State quarterback, as their quarterback, and Sean Aguano was their head coach. And he was kind enough. He took some time and he sat down with me. And it doesn't take long talking to Sean Aguano to know that he is a genuinely good dude. Like, I felt cared about. I felt like he was invested in me, and I talked to him for like maybe 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah, you probably couldn't care less.
Right, yeah, probably. Right? No, but the thing is, I actually think he does, because I actually think he did care, and he wanted to make sure I got a good story and that I understood what he was about and what his program was about. And then you see the success in there as well. I think at what he does, Sean Aguano is one of the best in the country.
Absolutely.
And to be somebody on a high school level, like so many other coaches on the staff that won on the highest level, that literally took home so many state championships, that you're considered one of the greatest head coaches in Arizona high school history.
Yeah.
To come here at a prestigious position for the school and to stick through, be the interim head coach, to go through different changes here, whether it's in the athletic department or in the coaching staff around you, and to be that constant and to be that consistent at a position that probably has the most prestige in Arizona State football history.
Yeah.
That and quarterback.
Not
when
even
you
probably.
look at Plummer and Osweiler and Milkins. But
one of these is not like the others.
The three-headed dragon. But he is somebody to where if you can keep him around for a long, long time,
it's going to be tough to do.
I know, but if you can, you are really putting yourself in a great position, because you're going to have the guy that just coached Cam Skattebo, who's going to coach Kanye and Kyson this year, who's going to sit down with Cardae, who's going to sit down with the next year's running back after that, and after that, and be like, yeah, this is the blueprint of success I built for these different players over these years, and this is what I can do for you. That means something. And that takes, like, don't underestimate also how much that takes off of Kenny Dillingham's plate.
Yeah.
You know, we love Kenny and we know he does a lot, but having coaches like Brian Ward, Marcus Arroyo, Sean Aguano, Jason Mons, Charlie Regal, like, having these guys on his staff allows him to do what he does best. But if he had to pick up the slack like he did when he had to take over play calling for the 3-win years as an offensive coordinator, you know, he gets spread a little too thin. He can't be the best that he can be. So don't think that those things aren't all intertwined in how important it all is to Arizona State's success now and the success they're building for the future.
Yeah, I'm with you. And this just continues the whole Texas to Tempe pipeline. This kid plays high school football in Texas. He is a top 100 player in the state of Texas, which we know is the spot for college football, or not for college football, excuse me, for high school football. So to be able to get a guy that's going to continue that pipeline, I think is huge. And again, there are more recruits on the way. Okay. So become a PHNX diehard. We'll fill you in on what's going on. Yeah, I'm committed.
Couple years of eligibility
I'm
left.
committing to Arizona State. Cannot wait.
Can we get a graphic for that?
No. We probably can't.
Okay.
I think we could. It would take very little effort to do, but I don't think we need that type of publicity.
Hunter asked, do we see Sean Aguano being an OC sometime soon with us or otherwise?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I don't know about with us, though, because if he wants to be it within the next couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, I think if Arizona State has a crazy year this year, I think Arroyo is probably gone. I think he's probably gone.
And then in that case, I would love Aguano to be.
Yeah, but I think that's going to be a position where you're going to have to choose. It's because we're going to hit the point where if Arizona State has another playoff season, another championship season, hey, I want Brian Carrington. Hey, I want Brian Ward. Hey, I want Marcus Arroyo. Hey, I want Jason Mons. Hey, I want Sean Aguano. Like, you're only going to be able to have them. You're only going to be able to promote to within, like, up, I guess, within
so much.
Yeah, like, thanks for completing the sentence there. I couldn't do it. We needed that. That's why, same shirt here. But yeah, it's going to be a tough thing to do. But I think if you're an Arizona State fan, just really sink into this season and enjoy everything that you're going to get out of it. A lot of talent on the roster, a lot of coaching talent as well. And the talent's going to keep getting to Arizona State. Just got to have faith that when some of these coaches do eventually leave, which, you don't want it to happen, but I don't think there's ever been a staff together for a decade. Forever. Yeah, forever. That
not a staff that's successful.
Yeah, that's Kenny's going to be able to replace those guys the way he did, like Rashad Samples.
I'm about to say, what happened with when Rashad Samples left?
Yeah, it was.
He went and got Hines freaking Ward.
Yeah, which is just
something
crazy to think about. Still, I see Hines out there. I saw him out there.
Did it ever just hit you? Just like, oh my God, that's Hines Ward.
Well, so when we were at the spring game, and there were a couple of fans that had like Steelers things, and they were calling Hines over at the very end of the spring game, and they had him sign stuff, and I got a video of it, and it was one person, and then it turned into 10 people signing things. And then eventually he signed it all, and he walked back. I said, Coach, you're going to be there all day if it was up to them. And he just kind of like shrugged, and he's just like,
he's used to it.
Yeah.
He's Hines Ward.
Yeah. Gosh. Must be crazy to oh my gosh.
Yes,
that's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Sorry, Shane doesn't like it. Shane doesn't like it.
So obnoxious.
Spoiling.
Yeah, he doesn't like
You're
it.
a spoiler.
Me?
You're a spoiler.
I mean, I did this time, but you are notorious.
I'm notorious?
Yes.
Am I?
I don't.
A notorious
You're both annoying.
spoiler?
You look
We're
at
both annoying.
annoying one, annoying two.
That one got Gerald laughing. You're both annoying.
Love you, Shane. I'm not gonna say it back.
No, he hates us. He's not a fan.
Do we want to get to the big guys?
Yeah, I think we can get to
the Giants,
the big guys.
the brothers that Arizona State added from Iowa State. Brent and Wade Helton transferring from Iowa State to Arizona State. The old KD move. If you can't beat them, might as well join them. Both of these guys are absolute giants. By the way, they're twins. Brent is 6'5", 320 pounds, and Wade is 6'5", 300 pounds. You add these guys in, they're redshirt freshmen, still a ton of eligibility left, all 4 years, and now Arizona State has some more depth, probably at the tackle position. I think at these guys' size, they project more as tackles, but we'll see. Heading into this season, Arizona State feels like they've got the majority of their offensive line intact.
There's only one thing that upsets me about this happening with these twins, that they're not the same exact height and weight.
There's 20-pound difference.
Come on. You gotta.
How do you let your twin have 20 pounds on you?
Seriously, 20 pounds is a lot of pounds.
Yeah. I mean, maybe not, though, when you're 300.
They could also just gotten weighed different days.
What would the
you
day
go
have
meal
to
for
do?
meal
Like
with your offensive line
weight.
twin?
20-pound difference?
Dude, at 300 pounds, you can drop that fast.
They drink a lot of water.
That's a lot of water.
It's a lot of
I
water.
heard the water in Iowa's in Ames is pretty good, though. So.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
No, I like it. You can never have enough offensive line depth, though.
Devinal is a diehard who's an Iowa State fan. He was going at it with a lot of the ASU diehards today. So that was tough for him to be a part of. But I like the depth that you're able to get with some of these guys. Again, we've talked at length about the Arizona State offensive line, what it's going to look like this year, the fact that you are going to be losing a guy like a Ben Coleman at the end of this year, but you still have guys like a Jalen Clem, you still have a Sean Naw. I think if you're going to have competition that just continues, right? I think there are a lot of positions where it's like, okay, I want to know who my starting quarterback is 2 weeks till the game.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know who the starting running back is 3 weeks before the game. I think if there's a position group that I'm fine with competition up until game day, it's the offensive line.
We saw that last year.
Yeah. Josh Atkins was not originally the starting left tackle for Arizona State. It was Emmett Foley for the entirety of fall camp. And then with a week to go, hey, Josh Atkins, you're starting at left tackle.
Yeah.
So it works. It plays well. Again, I love the fact that they're transferring from Iowa State to Arizona State.
Now, they're not from Iowa.
No, they are from
just to clarify, they're from California.
They're from California.
Very different than Iowa.
Yeah. What would you say the biggest difference is?
The corn.
Corn's better in Iowa?
For sure.
That's the biggest difference?
Politics.
Yeah, I mean, there you go.
Beachfront properties.
Oh my goodness.
We have breaking news.
We do.
Totri's committed.
Wow. I'm committed to
Running
Arizona
back.
State. Wow. It's huge for me.
That's
Shout
big
out
time.
Sean Aguano.
Can you bring back that hair?
Yeah, that's crazy.
That was a lot of lettuce
It's a lot
up
of
there.
lettuce.
I can't believe I didn't even know they had 1-star recruits.
Wow. Thanks. Appreciate
Kind
that.
of shocked.
That's kind of
I'm surprised I get a star. Let me be honest with you.
You
Scat
are-
was a 0-star
You are
recruit.
the big, bright, shining star.
Scat
Well,
was
that's
a 0
crazy.
star.
Totri
higher
higher
recruit
than Cam Skattebo.
than Scat.
How excited are you to carry the torch at running back you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pumped. I want to thank Sean or Coach Aguano, I guess, for the opportunity.
First naming it.
He just all the visits.
This is
he's
take
just-
away the star.
Yeah, I lose the star.
You lose the star.
No, man, it's a great opportunity. I'm excited to be the 9th running back on a roster that features 5.
Hunter Arizona says -3 stars.
Yeah,
Jacob's
tough.
juiced.
Jacob's juiced.
Yeah.
Oh snap! Yeah, I mean, it is. Where did you find that photo?
I Googled your name.
Hmm.
And pictures of Kyle came up.
Wait, what?
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why.
If you Google my name, Kyle comes
I
up.
have to.
That's what you're doing right now.
Duh.
Oh,
I see lots of Anthony Totri.
did that photo?
Too much.
that one
Too
photo?
much Anthony Totri.
I mean, you Googled my name.
now there is a picture of Kyle. Yes.
Like too much of me when you ask the internet to find me.
Yes.
You realize that, right?
Yeah. Well, there's a picture of you going like this.
Where? Let me see. The old Instagram. Unfortunate for me. Guys, hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Drop a 5-star review. We do have one final question that has been dominating the internet
I was wondering if we were gonna go. Here.
that I want to ask everybody in the chat. We'll put a poll in the chat.
We're not putting a monkey poll.
Put a monkey
Or a
poll
gorilla
in the
poll.
chat.
Excuse me.
A gorilla poll.
There's a big difference.
The internet is currently fighting about if 100 humans, grown men, which we assume, could take down one silverback gorilla.
Yeah.
Full grown. What do you think?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I think the people.
How many casualties?
Oh, lots. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
We're gonna lose a few good men out there.
Is it
More than a few.
Is it a silverback? Like
Silverback, full-grown gorilla. Now, there are not a lot of individuals in this office that support the use of artificial intelligence. Gerald.
Eric.
I have asked AI
Oh,
what would
that settles
happen.
it.
What would happen in the scenario? AI seems to think that a coordinated attack of unarmed, full-grown men would be able to kill a full silverback gorilla. However, we'd lose about 30 good men.
Listen, I think the people who are like, "Oh, humans have no chance." Do you know how many 100 humans versus one gorilla?
Well, it's
Like,
just-
come on.
But it's also just so hard to, like, yeah, you can all jump on him, but like, is that gonna stop? Like,
But like, the gorilla's going to get tired.
Is it though?
Yes, absolutely. A coordinated attack of 100 people.
yeah,
100.
but it also just depends on the people. Like, I don't know. Like, are you getting
That's
100?
2 football teams worth.
Yeah, but are you getting 100 football players, or are you getting 100 me's? Because 100 me's, I'm getting tired.
I think
after
100 of
one swing.
you could take him down.
I don't think so.
I think it's a good size.
I'd get scared. The other thing about gorillas is like, are they down? Like, do they want to fight?
Are they down?
In this scenario, I would imagine both sides are ready to fight.
This is a fight to the death. Yeah.
Because like, gorillas, they don't really.
I also imagine if like
They're
let's say
herbivores.
the gorilla's not down, right? Let's say it's like a pacifist.
Yeah.
But then some humans try and jump the gorilla. I think the gorilla's gonna not be a pacifist anymore.
I think we gotta it's like average
Well,
humans.
here's the thing.
Like,
I hate the question because it's so broad.
Okay, so let's narrow it
it seems
down.
like a question you would like though.
It is.
It does, yeah. It does
Yeah,
feel like a very
but-
deli man question.
But when I ask these type of questions, I specify.
So give us a more specific one as we thank
Okay.
everybody who's watching us on TV and remind you that the party always continues over at gophnx.com.
Yeah. So
Time for gorilla talk.
the biggest thing is we're completely unarmed.
Unarmed individuals, yes.
The second biggest thing is what's the demographic? Like, they should all be the same. Are they?
Wait, 100 use.
So it's 100 6'4" males.
Yes.
Okay.
That
What's
flex with
larger
a little
than the
flex with-
average.
little flex
Larger
with the
than the
height,
average
yeah.
man.
Okay. Well, this is the thing. That's a big difference. Also, is it me? Because if it's literally me and just not my build, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no combat experience.
But you don't feel confident that 100 of you,
I just don't think,
even if it's not like you, let's say it's 100, there's 101 of you, you're watching from somewhere else.
yeah, no, I hear you. I just don't think, like, I get the idea of 100 people swarming. I understand that. Sure, manpower, awesome. But getting on top of a gorilla, like, how close are you going to be able to get in? And is your weight going to be able to like subdue it?
What's the
Again,
approach?
a couple people are a lot of people are going to die.
Is it just a weight thing? Like, are you trying to just like
is fear involved? Because if I see like 3 of me die, I'm out of there.
Well,
So
that's a big question.
Let's look at this as like a Squid Game scenario, okay? Where you're all gonna die if you don't get out. Like, somebody's gonna shoot you in the head if you don't get out.
Okay.
So you are motivated to get out of this scenario. And what I think I would do is groups of like waves of like 15. Right.
I feel like that's the wrong approach.
Waves of 15. Because here's the thing, if you have 100 people, you're going to be like end up like attacking like on each other. But like coordinated attacks, a couple people are going to die, man.
Yeah, but the coordinated attacks, like, again, like the only strength that you have is numbers. So by cutting your numbers into waves of 15,
dude,
do you know the size of a silverback gorilla?
Yes, I'm aware.
They're actually a lot smaller than you would think.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
They
They're
also
not-
have like
we're
giant
not
fangs,
fighting
don't they?
King Kong.
Yeah. Well, no. Do
For me, it would be.
how much do you think it weighs?
A silverback gorilla?
Yeah.
1,400 pounds.
No, 400.
Yeah. Again, we're not talking about like a like a T-Rex. We're not talking about King Kong. We're not talking about Godzilla. We're
It's
talking
a
about
large
a gorilla.
animal, bro.
And we're talking about 100
It's a
humans.
large
Do
animal.
you know the collective weight of 100 humans that would probably average it like around anywhere from like
but that's what I'm
180 to
saying.
like
That's
220
what I'm saying is you
pounds?
can't cut it down into the waves of 15 because you're taking away the only advantage you have, which is numbers.
I think the only way it's working is if you get him in a headlock.
So we're trying to choke out the gorilla.
What else are you gonna do?
Well, because here's the thing: the gorilla is going to be fighting forward. You could have 20 people jump on its back. It turns around, another 20 jump. Like it, it's so possible.
Yeah,
I will stand on this.
I think my final answer is that they could. Like, I think they could defeat it.
Casualty
But again,
limit?
There's no limit. I mean,
I
I'm
think
going
you're-
to
I think you're
everybody's
losing
dead.
6 people. That's it.
Really?
Yeah.
I think.
Because-
Wow.
Because I think 20 people could
Damn,
take
Glenn.
it down.
You think what?
20 people could take it down.
You think 20?
Dude, I don't
Yeah.
disagree with you.
Yeah.
I think
again,
you guys have too much faith in the human race.
Again, I think you are thinking of a gorilla as this insane, like, massive. Again, you said 1,400-pound mastodon, and that's not what it is.
It's a large animal that could rip your limbs off of your body.
one-on-one, you're screwed.
Now, if we're talking orangutans, I'm a little.
You think an orangutan puts up a
multiple orangutans?
Okay.
Yeah.
Orangutan. I don't know.
Let's go.
The silence
Yeah.
after,
We're-
the silence after is like looking around like, oh crap.
That's all we got.
Guys, that's going to do it for today's episode of the PHNX
100
Sun
humans
Devils
winning
show.
70% to 30%.
If you enjoyed today's content, give us a follow at PHNX Sun Devils. You can follow me and Anthony Totri. You can follow the guy that has a lot of faith in humanity over here. That's
Ooh,
Erik
would not go
Ruby. That's Erik with a K. You can follow the Deli Man, just cooking up sandwiches as always at Shane Dief.
Just loving all things monkeys and apes.
As always.
Yeah, you already said as always.
Yeah, you're right. I did. Guys, we'll see you on Tuesday. In the meantime, go Devils and peace.
We all silly like the mayor.